Oh, YouTube, what the corn crap is going on? Sigvald's back. He's both handsome and deadly, and he's got rats in his sights. Yes, this is the Archaon, the Ever-Chosen End Times campaign. And if I'm using the words of those who are watching, the best campaign on YouTube. Alright, I'd like to make this a custom at the beginning of these episodes, recognizing some of the highest comments. Nils Voss said, have Kholek target the dwarves and orcs too. Mountain god after all. Yes, the original intention was definitely for him to target the dwarves. There's not many of them left, but he will. And I suppose we can fight greenskins too. I don't see anything wrong with that. 73 other people upvoted and agreed. So be it. So Sanks leaves a comment saying, still waiting for any unit to be named Air's Salty Bunch and one of the Hell Cannons to be named the Salt Dispenser. Well, I think I can take care of that right here for us. So here's the Salt Dispenser. And the Salty Bunch. Ooh, man, who's a good one to name the Salty Bunch? Maybe someone in Archaon's army. He's got all these epic troops over here. Got the Dawi Cleavers, the Reapers of Strahov. How about we name this last chosen here? We'll call him, I guess we'll just call him the Salty Bunch, because that's what you wanted to name there. So, a lot of people liked that comment, so there you go. One other pretty funny comment that came up is Appius, whom this character is named after, commented and said, hey, if I'm immortal, I'm sleeping with all the vampire women. I guess we can't stop you, Appius, so comment accepted. Alright, one last comment that was pretty funny. Daddy Pudding says, also Zinch is the eagle, Nurgle is the crow. You got the wrong Chaos God. They're mortal enemies, so they really insulted. Nothing in all creation do they despise more than the opposite. Yeah, well, when air is controlling your Ever-Chosen, that's the kind of stuff that happens. Okay, it is time to kick some living crap out of the old world. So here's Karl Franz. It's actually really good. He's right on the path of Archaon, and he'll have all this garrison and other units so that we can finally get a tough battle. He's even got a steam tank and a Luminarch. So now we're talking. This ought to get interesting. Very interesting. So I'm going to move that way and attempt to attack him. I could combine Sigvald's army back over here, but I'm actually not going to at the moment. I think we can just catch these rats. I don't know if we'll actually be able to engage them. They may run away, or we may not quite reach them, but I'm going to try it, because I really want to engage the Skaven. Ah, cowards. Filthy cowards. Well, wanted to engage the Skaven. Doesn't mean I will get to. How long will it take me to go around? I'm going to go around Talabheim and see if we can catch Karl Franz without having to go through Talabheim and take unnecessary losses from that siege. And then Kholek, the mountain god in the mountains, is going to continue destroying what's left of the vampires here. We're going to suffer some vampiric attrition, but it's not really going to be a big deal. Or it's actually not vampiric attrition. Or yeah, it is. It is vampiric attrition, because I wouldn't think he would suffer attrition in the mountains.
You are irrelevant vampire. Nothing but a withered soul clinging to mortal remains. I will dominate you.
I couldn't have said it better myself, Archaon. Ooh, I love it. Love it. Well, it looks like the Varg won a peace treaty. They're not willing to become a vassal. So, I don't think so. Alright, we made it through the turn-in. I forgot to start talking. But I've got Sigvald here, and we're going to assault Beckhofen. These pathetic mortals of the south. What did someone call them in one episode? Milk drinkers? Yes. I think that was what that big long comment called them. We're going to auto-resolve. Nothing that should be too difficult for us to handle there. With Sigvald, I'm going to finish a point blessed by Chaos, and we'll do Route Marchers, and we need to do this Tribes of Chaos growth. I should have already done that. The other Trickster Shard, Magic Resistance, yeah, not real worried about that. Kholek is going to attack Kazet Irkulaz, and I'm pretty sure the auto-resolve will probably end up killing my dragon in this, so I'm going to fight it, but I'm not going to show it. Well, you can see the results of this battle. The vampires scored a massive 0 kills to 511 losses, so that sounds about right for a Kholek-led battle against the vampires. Hardly any loot, because they were losers. Did gain a rank, that's good. We always take ranks. Take the favor. We got another Mark of Tzeentch. Oh my goodness, Kholek's army is going to be full of Mark of Tzeentch, which is pretty cool because people are getting so much ward save that it's kind of otherworldly. Look at this, casualty replenishment, campaign movement range. That will certainly be handy. Let's go ahead and do that. Ooh, weapon strength. Wow, 15% weapon strength and charge. That's also really good. All of these are good. We're going to get all of them. I'll do that. Actually, let's do that one first, and then Seismic Shock and Toughen Skin. We can't camp, and it's time to end the turn. After we go ahead, during that turn end, Karl Franz moved forward to Talabheim. I'm going to siege him, and I'm hoping that his reinforcing army, as well as the garrison and his own army, will come attack me in what will be an epic battle against the Empire. Exactly what I wanted has happened. All of the Empire forces are combining against me. The only downside is that Karl Franz is coming in as the final reinforcement, but we get to take a shot at Volkmar, whose army has a considerable anti-infantry artillery. But we'll use our cavalry, close the distance, crush the Empire in one fell blow. The Empire, regrouped because I've allowed them to. They would have been easily destroyed in my initial invasion, but instead I turned my wrath on the vampires and gave the pathetic, cowardly likes of Volkmar and Karl Franz a chance to give me a true fight. And this is where they've chosen to take that fight. Outside of Talabheim, they will have a significant number of forces. A general, Karl Franz, is here as well, and Archaon will be looking to find him on the battlefield. There's Volkmar. There are a lot of great swords. There are Reichsguard. There are Demigryph Knights. There's artillery. There's a steam tank. There's a Luminarch. So we are going to see a huge fight. Let me give you a quick layout of my armies. Archaon is here on my left flank as usual with his knights and the Swords of Chaos. In the middle, you've got Appius and Sextus rushing forward to spread chaos amongst the Empire lines. I've got a mostly standard infantry deployment. However, I've gone a little wider this time in order to try and meet the entire Empire line that's going to outnumber my Chosen greatly. And I have my 2 halberd units, the Sons of the Last Plague, and also my Chosen with halberds a little further to the flank, and my knights on my right flank. Now, I've initially started the battle by giving the Empire a little present here. This flamestorm has already claimed the lives of many of the Empire troops, and Archaon begins to give them an idea of just what they're up against. The Emperor has felt confident coming into this battle, but we will see how far and how long that confidence lasts, because there's already charred corpses of his men littering the battlefield. Got this unit of Reichsguard over here that means to charge my knights, and we will meet that charge with Archaon and his knights, though I do believe I get that charge fairly last minute because I was over here hitting these Demigryph knights that are attacking me. Appius and Sextus into the back lines, ready to wreak havoc on the proper units, but right now taking a little bit of fire because there's a lot of units for me to micromanage, and my focus is on the infantry at just this moment. See, this cavalry engagement is going to be tough for the Crimson Rampage. I've got my infantry rushing to reinforce this cavalry fight. Holy tongue-tied. I've got Appius and Sextus on the ground with knight support incoming. My infantry, massively qualitatively, is better than theirs, but the Empire numbers are huge. At this point, Archaon has spotted Karl Franz, and he's going to use the Slayer of Kings to come kill the Emperor of Men. See Archaon ready to charge in. Karl was already somewhat weak from fighting the Sons of the Last Plague. Probably not the appropriate unit for him to attack, but no mercy. Archaon's going to bring everything and slays the Emperor easily, cutting through him like a flaming sword straight through butter. The Empire troops in the back lines are now being assaulted by my cavalry, and then Appius and Sextus are given an assault order on this Luminarch of Hysh, as we cannot allow it to get the type of kills that it may be able to do. While that fight is going on in the background, the mainline infantry fight rages on, and the Empire has a huge number of troops, and to even the odds, I use a burning head here from Archaon to really put some serious damage on the Empire troops here in the middle, which will help my Reavers and Chosen cut their way through. On the far flank, I've managed to start to nullify the Demigryph Knights using my Chosen and infantry support. The Crimson Rampage has miraculously survived. I'm simply ignoring the steam tank for now, as it is not a priority target, and I'm focusing everything on the artillery and the handguns. The Luminarch of Hysh was quickly routed by my 2 Chaos Romans, and they're going to continue to run down the handgunners. The handgunners are being denied the opportunity to cause the damage that they need to swing this fight in their favor. After having caused immense damage to the infantry, having racked up almost 200 kills, Archaon is finishing off a regrouped Reichsguard, while Volkmar is repositioning in this fight, attempting to support what's left of the infantry. The Sons of the Last Plague are going to move to this flank to support the Dawi Cleavers, who are in desperate condition, fighting 2 units of great swords, 162 kills, and fighting strong, but they're outmatched at the moment. And so their Chosen brothers are coming to help them, and Archaon will not allow the Dawi Cleavers to be taken down by overwhelming numbers of pathetic Empire troops. So I'm going to swing around with Archaon and prepare a rear attack. You can see there he drops some piercing bolts of burning into a large infantry blob, causing once again massive damage to the Empire. 265 kills for Archaon. So he picked up another 70 kills. He's going to plow with Droghar right into the back of this infantry formation, eventually attacking Volkmar, but right now I'm attempting to break this infantry. And in order to help do that, the Knights of Chaos have been summoned by their master, and they'll bring their lances to bear on this infantry blob. And once we've broken this infantry blob in Volkmar, the fight will be over, and it'll simply be a mop-up operation. So you can see Volkmar now being attacked. Archaon's going to come get him, and the Knights with lances and the Swords of Chaos bringing a massive blow to the back of that fight. And other places, after the help from Archaon, the Reavers of the Night Faith and the Chosen continue to mop up that infantry fight. And elsewhere, we've got our Reapers of Straghoff, who are no strangers to the destruction of men, hacking their way through Empire troops. And then on the far flank, the Empire has been broken out here, and you can see now they're just receiving more and more troops reinforcing, which leaves Appius and Sextus in a somewhat desperate fight as they have to shut down all the reinforcements by themselves. But this job is not too much to ask of these 2 brave souls who have proven themselves in my campaigns past. At this point, more reinforcements hit the battlefield. There's Empire Knights from the garrison reinforcements coming in, as well as Outriders, who are starting to cause some damage to some of my somewhat beleaguered troops who have already slaughtered thousands of men, but yet the fight rages on. You can see here my Knights turn to face the Empire Knights. The Empire Knights, no match for those of Chaos. Statistically, it is just an absolute slaughter when you see my Knights matched up against theirs. And now that my infantry is freed from the fight, we're pushing all of the reinforcing troops of the Empire back up against the line, where they've got nowhere to fight and nowhere to run. You can see their rocket batteries trying desperately, and again my Manticores keeping at bay all of their artillery. I have had some regrouped Knights back here helping to clean up regrouped handgunners. This excess of Empire cavalry at the last moment has been somewhat problematic, but my Chosen with halberds doing their best to stave that off despite being completely overwhelmed by numbers. It's the Crimson Rampage who comes back to continue to clean up handgunners. They've done marvelously at it. The Dawi Cleavers have stayed allied this whole time. And at this point, on the far stretches of the map, Volkmar was just escorted off the map by Archaon, and he's no longer there, so the Empire morale is bound to take a hit as most of their leaders are gone. Archaon can now swing back to the battle. Let's get a look at Appius and Sextus back here taking on all these Empire Knights. Fortunately, they nullified the artillery and saved my men many unnecessary losses. They fought extremely valiantly in this battle against some huge odds and done a very, very nice job. At this point, there started to be a terror rout amongst the Empire troops, and that left my Sons of the Last Plague to come over here and tie down this steam tank and start to poison it, while Archaon, Appius, and Sextus ride in to help finish it, as it's the only unit from the Empire that isn't breakable. And the big boys are going to put a hurt on this stank. Sigmar's steam is no match for the tide of chaos. It cools it like a giant wave from the North Sea. The steam tank is gone. Karl Franz thoroughly defeated by the Ever-Chosen. What a battle. Now that's what I was talking about. This is what Archaon wanted to prove when we invaded the lands of men, that even with their mighty hosts, their huge armies, their artillery, their best units, they could not face the Ever-Chosen and his chosen. This is what we were aiming for, folks. Karl Franz defeated. Volkmar, tail between his legs, running. Talabheim defeated. Massive defeat for the Empire. Every one of my units survived the battle, albeit some of them barely. We finally got the challenge that we wanted. It unfortunately won't give me control of the garrison for having won that victory. The interesting thing here is I thought we were sieging the city, but we're not. Something happened there to where after the battle we were no longer sieging the city. We're actually replenishing right where we're at. So if I siege the city, I'll stop replenishing. I'm going to let my army replenish. I can't actually go into an encampment or attack anything else. But if I let my army replenish, then we should be able to easily take Talabheim from its pathetic inhabitants. See what else we have for Archaon to do. I'd like to get this ascension to demonhood. We've finished up pretty much all of his magic line except for Earthing and Flaming Sword of Ruin. Let's go with this. I have to pick this at some point because I have to have 4 skill points. I know it doesn't actually do anything for this army, but I have to do it. And then let's look at Appius here, who's leveled up. Got his Manticore. We have all of his magic. Let's do Eye of the Gods. Gives him slightly more weapon strength when attacking. Never hurts for one of those characters. We have a Tormentor Sword here too, which could be a very handy weapon on maybe one of the attendants for Sigvald here. I need you guys to name this Metal Sorcerer. I saw a couple of suggestions in the last one. I wasn't crazy about them, so I want to see what else you all can throw at me here. Let's see, Sigvald is eventually going to have his own armor, but until then, this Helm of Discord would be a nice one for him to have. And some people thought it was funny that I gave Sigvald a Filth Mace. Yes, indeed we did. Maybe we'll give him the Tormentor Sword instead. Since Filth Mace doesn't really match with the background of Sigvald. I definitely see that. Hand weapon. We'll give the Filth Mace to his attendant here. Tricksters. I mean, none of this stuff's very helpful. Basic armor. Give him that Tormentor Sword. Nothing we can do there. I mean, Feather Foe Torque. None of this stuff's probably going to be particularly helpful. This Wand of Jet we definitely want, though. Research rate. Research rate. Sextus doesn't even have armor? Well, we gotta get him a proper armor. You know what, folks? Sextus deserves a proper armor. Alright. Let's finish leveling up a character here. Gotten his assassinate and training and everything ready to that end. Or of Chaos, not really what I need at this time. Let's go ahead and open up this line here with Blade Master. And then we can take the army of Sigvald, push forward to this choke point, go into an encamp stance, and replenish his troops and prepare for the next fight. And then as for Kholek, it needs to be more of the same. We need to take out Nashrak's lair and Karak Kadrin. The vampires still holding on to those points. So let's just move forward and leave enough to camp on the end. His army will replenish, and Nashrak's lair will fall. So we've been attacked by Skaven during the turn end, and I'm pretty sure we get a choke point battle unless they attacked us from behind. Actually, they did probably attack us from behind, but we still get the choke point. Vermich is going to have to funnel all of his rats through this small point, and my hell cannons are going to enjoy that. First major action with his army alone, Sigvald, the magnificently vain, stands between Vermich and getting through this choke point, but the warp lightning cannons of Skaven are absolutely merciless, and there is some extreme firepower. My knights paying a hefty price trying to break their way through this choke point. But I do have to get through and get these knights to a flank. And once I do, I'll be able to clean up those cannons and get vengeance later. But in the meantime, we will take extensive damage. My hell cannons do have range on the Skaven, but I'm going to have to move my infantry back and get the Skaven convinced that they need to come attack me, because right now, with the ranged attack that they've had successful here early, they want to sit back and shoot me across the choke point. And they've got just barely enough arc of fire to do it, despite the terrain here. This is a very nice map. Actually, I love the terrain on this map. So Sigvald and his aspiring champions and Chaos Warriors, including his Mirror Guard that will stay nearby, will have a good opportunity here to prove their valiance in battle, to prove their devotion to the Chaos Gods, to Slaanesh. Here's the Salt Dispenser and the Soul of Damnation, dispensing air, salt, and damned souls all over the Skaven as they approach. Now, of course, the Skaven summon clan rats all over it. I'll be quick to react to make sure that my cannons are not dispatched by these cheap Skaven units. Here comes the Mirror Guard. Man, they are a glorious looking unit. The Warp Lightning cannons are putting in a brutal, brutal barrage. But now that the Skaven are on approach, we're going to have them where we want. And I see the Rat Ogres approaching over there and know that it's time for my infantry to go fill the gaps. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to move my infantry into position. You can see them moving forward there. We're going to plug this choke point. And now my Hell Cannons will get vengeance for that early barrage from these Warp Lightning cannons. My cavalry has moved out of the woods. They're under fire from one Warp Lightning cannon, but it won't be able to stop their charge. And then as the Skaven start to get bottled up, I'm going to take manual control of my Hell Cannon and cause maximum damage. I do forget about my Metal Sorcerer in this battle. The Gehenna's Golden Hounds and the Piercing Bolts of Burning would have been perfect for this choke point. But I'll tell you up front that, like I said, I do make a mistake and forget about that as I was manually controlling the Hell Cannon. Skaven try and knock through the Mirror Guard over here. They cause some damage, but it's not a significant amount of damage, and you can see that the barrage of the Hell Cannons on the infantry is starting, and it will be severe. This one's being manually targeted by me. The Salt Dispenser targeting other units like this Warp Fire Thrower. And then, like I said, the Soul of Damnation just really dropping massive hits right in the middle of these blobbed infantry, and the Skaven at this point are very, very lucky that Hell Cannon's got a nerf previously. Let's look at my aspiring champions and warriors battling it out in the choke point. You can see my sorcerer here. You see Sigvald in and amongst the enemy troops. Look at him. There's blood on his shield. CA, please, fix it. Sigvald doesn't get dirty. Is there a mod for that? If there is, we need to install it. Sigvald can't get dirty. That's an insult. He wouldn't tolerate that. So you can see my Hell Cannons begin to clear out the Skaven infantry. My cavalry has cleaned up the enemy artillery. And now the Knights of Chaos come back to finish the fight. Things started with them taking massive casualties, but now they'll be the ones inflicting those casualties on the fleeing Skaven. See my Knights here coming in. The Rat Ogres attempting to take them. The Warp Fire Throwers and Rat Ogres will get caught, and my Knights will land their rear charge despite the Skaven attempting to slow them. And what's left of the Skaven now finds themselves in a pretty desperate condition. The spells from their Warlock will not do or their Plague Priest will not do it. They've got a Grey Seer here as well. You can see that despite my army having been in a pretty damaged condition to begin with, that we've got this. I finally remember my Metal Sorcerer. I take a couple of guess shots over here, but I'm going to end up mostly missing these regrouped Skaven troops, though my Hounds do get a small piece of the regrouping troops here, as I try and stop those reinforcements from rejoining the combat. The regrouping troops over here are going to be met by Hell Cannon fire. You can see the ones out in the distance being hit. Those are some of the slingers that I've routed. What a shot right there. Oh, it's glorious. It is glorious. And Sigvald has slain many a filthy rat. For the glory of Slaanesh, he slays these disgusting creatures. And that's pretty much going to be the end of the battle, as the Skaven themselves admit to wavering. The chain rout is near. Their forces can't continue to take this kind of beating. Their leadership gives way, and Vermich and his Skaven do what Skaven do best, and flee. Flee for their little scampering lives. Well, Vermich and his scum stand defeated, and we're going to have to name probably one of our units here Rat Poison. Our Soul of Damnation sent many Skaven back to their precious horned rat, and Sigvald and his troops stood firm in the choke point against overwhelming numbers of Skaven that also possessed pretty potent firepower. After that turn, Archaon's army stands again outside of Talabheim and its pants-wetting defenders. We have the opportunity here to upgrade Sextus, the Exalted Hero. Let's see, we finished Woundmaker. Let's take care of Scarred Veteran and then add as much to Blade Shield as we can, because those Manticores are actually somewhat vulnerable during battle. Sigvald recovered a pretty fair amount of his strength after having defeated Vermich, and our Chaos Sorcerer here can now unlock Final Transmutation, which is going to be a big deal to be able to cut down enemy lords at a much more rapid pace. Going to stay encamped with Sigvald temporarily. We've got all the way up to the Chaos War Shrine, which is good in case we need to re-recruit anything. Building this building here will be one step closer to building the mutant army that's going to follow along behind him. But we have also can go up to a tier 5 Ruinous Warhost, so I'm going to do that first, as that will have an overall benefit to his stack. And then to finalize this turn, Kholek is going to utterly destroy Nashrak's lair, and then he'll be in a good position to march against Karak Kadrin. These auto-resolves against your dragon It's just not even fair. There was nothing in that garrison that it could have caused that much damage to my dragon, even in a best case scenario. CA, please. So Kholek, let's go ahead and give him seismic shock. And we're getting close to the Sun Eater after we do toughen skin. So it's been a successful episode for Kholek, and a very good episode for Archaon. So we had a great battle with Archaon and Sigvald. Kholek is kind of in mop-up mode, but as the god of the mountain, he may take the fight to the greenskins soon. And I mean, there are more vampires up here in the north. I don't feel like dealing with them at the moment, as that's a long march out of my way. And what I want to do with Sigvald is get his other army recruited and then put to sea here and sail on over to Ulth and begin the fight against the High Elves and let his vanity reign supreme. Hope you all enjoyed the episode. This one was a lot of fun, some epic victories in battle. HeirofCarthage signing out from the Ever-Chosen campaign, and the end times will return soon, folks. Keep an eye out. I will see you there. If you did like this video, please hit that like button. It helps me a ton, and it just takes a second from you because it helps this video trend. It helps us get more viewers. If you enjoyed it also, that can help me a lot. Tell your friends about it, man. If you want to, say, hey, I know this awesome campaign that I like. Come take a look at it. Anyway, I'll see you all next time.